This is Retirement Keys with Anthony Congemi from Crescent City Retirement Group. When a part of your financial strategy is out of tune, your long-term goals, your retirement savings, and your legacy can all suffer. With many years of experience in the financial industry, Anthony provides his clients and prospects with the information they need regarding Social Security, retirement income planning, wealth management, and much more. Listen in as we address your financial concerns and provide helpful solutions to put you on the path to achieving your retirement goals. And now, here is Retirement Keys with your host, Anthony Congemi.
Well, hello, this is Anthony Congemi with Retirement Keys. Thank you so much for joining us this lovely Sunday morning. We are going to have a good show for you today. We've got a lot to talk about. We have our fabulous co-host, Mr. Tony Shore, with us today. And so before we get started, I'd just like to introduce our host, co-host, Mr. Tony Shore. Tony, how have you been?
Oh, I've been doing great, Anthony. Thanks for having me on your show once again. And it's been a crazy busy week for me. It was my son's birthday last week, so we celebrated that. Plus, he just got married a couple weeks ago. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's been a wild and busy time. And, you know, I've got kids in college. They're looking to move for their summer months, and it's just been crazy busy. You know how it goes, right?
Yeah. So are you going to be embarking on this empty nest syndrome?
Well, our youngest is still a junior in high school, but I think within the next couple of years we'll be probably empty nesters, although, you know, our youngest might live at home while she goes to school. We'll see. We'll see where it lands, but we're getting there. I mean, most of the time it's just my wife and I at home, and then our youngest, when she's not working or at school or with friends, sleeps at home, but that's about it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, they move up and move on, It's just a whirlwind with these kids. I hear you, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it keeps me busy, keeps me out of trouble, I guess, keeps me involved. But work has also been busy, and I know you've been busy meeting with a lot of folks, a lot of listeners, and a lot of clients out there. But what else have you been up to? You're busy this time of year, aren't you?
We really are, Tony. We just closed out this tax season for 2021. And, that's always a busy time for us. One of the things, as you know, Tony, one of the things that we really consider to be extremely important as it relates to retirement planning is how your tax strategy and your distribution strategy work hand in hand. And you really need a holistic approach with that. If the investment planning and the tax strategy aren't talking to each other or supporting each other, then you really, you just don't have as good a result as you could. So, yes, I mean, it's really been hectic up to the end of this tax season for 2021. And frankly, hitting the ground running for 2022 as it relates to tax strategies and tax planning for this year.
Sure. And, taxes are important. I know a lot of people out there, this time of year is when they think about taxes, the end of the year maybe, but for sure from the start of the year through April, and they're just looking back at last year's taxes. But it's also really important to look ahead. And that's where you come in, working alongside tax professionals to help your clients make sure that they're not making any mistakes with their taxes that could affect them down the road or in retirement, correct?
Well, absolutely, Tony. I mean, as you say, looking in the rearview mirror, a lot of folks, they just wait until they, get their 1099s, W-2s, K-1s, whatever it might be, all the tax documents that they're looking for in January and February. And then it's pretty much, for the most part, it's whatever was done was done. And so tax preparation, of course, is planning a tax return. But tax planning is really looking ahead and not necessarily looking behind. And so tax planning is real important, Tony, because we want a good result when that tax return is finally done. And the only way to have that is to really be looking in the future of what the distributions are going to look like, what the tax implications will be, and then structuring income, Tony, that potentially is more tax efficient.
Sure. Sure. And, people are concerned about taxes and taxes going up in the future. And I know you're trying to prepare your clients for that and work hard to include that as part of the plan. But let's get to something that's really happening currently, and that is market volatility and the craziness with the markets coupled with inflation and rising interest rates. So the markets, I mean, a week ago we saw Netflix take a huge dive, almost 30% down their stock. And this week we hear news of the world's richest man, Elon Musk, buying the world's largest social media platform, Twitter. So that, coupled with the war in Ukraine and rising interest rates, the market volatility probably is going to keep on going, right?
Yeah, Tony, I would think so. The volatility controlled indexes, the VIX index. I mean, it really, and of course, you don't need the index to see the volatility, but yeah, it's very clear that we're in the throes of volatile times, and probably will be that way for the foreseeable future. And so, Tony, and all the things you've just mentioned. I mean, inflation. Certainly, the inflation numbers are off the charts. We know the Feds are going to raise interest rates a couple of more times this year. So we really need to be prepared, Tony. I mean, our portfolios need to be prepared, and our retirement strategy needs to consider all of this, happenings. And I think that, for the most part, people are aware. I mean, in terms of inflation, I mean, you can't go to the grocery store or go to the gas station and not see the impact of the rising costs. And, as a client, I was talking to earlier this week, said, Anthony, being on a fixed income, if we didn't have our inflation adjusted income and we didn't have our increases, I mean, we wouldn't be able to enjoy the same standard of living that we enjoy. So we always, we know that cost of goods and services are going to increase over time. But this certainly has been more dramatic, as you say, with COVID and the labor force, the supply chain that's been interrupted in a lot of areas. Certainly those chips that seem to be, instrumental in just about all, technology. So yeah, Tony, it's really been some challenging times, and that's why, just going back to fundamentals and having a retirement plan that has all of the pieces in place to weather these storms, Tony, is more evident today, I think, than it's ever been.
Well, yeah, and I think having a plan in place is the key, and getting a second opinion on where you're at, or updating where you're at with your financial plan, with your retirement savings, is huge. You don't want to have to lay awake at night worrying about what the market's going to do tomorrow or how volatile it's going to be over the next year, because it seems like we're in it for the long haul with market volatility this year. I mean, there's just so many factors that are influencing it right now and that can influence it. We kind of got spoiled with, since 2008, it's almost done nothing but climb with just a quick dip at the beginning of COVID and then back up again. So this year, ups and downs, and that can really frazzle the nerves, especially for people who are close to retirement, right?
It really does, Tony. And I would just go back to an investment strategy that looks at really three aspects of an investment portfolio for retirement. And that would be liquidity, emergency funds, a structured income plan, and then, of course, growth. And so the idea is not to get these ideas confused. Liquidity is emergency money. We all need that carved out. That's you've heard of rainy day funds, or I know back in Finance 101, they always talked about having 6 to 9 months of an emergency fund. But really, that emergency fund is subject to all of our, everybody's got different needs for emergency fund, but so the dollar amount is not as important. I mean, it could be 50,000 for one person, it could be 250,000. But the point is, you need liquidity, you need emergency fund. Then that second bucket, if you will, Tony, is the structured income, and that income planning bucket, with Social Security, defined benefit plans, annuities, bond ladders, dividends from stocks. This is all structured income. And that income bucket really shouldn't be subject to market volatility. We should be, have our base income covered in that income bucket. And then, of course, you do have a growth bucket, Tony, or multiple growth buckets where you have strategies to grow the money to keep up with inflation and the like. But if you don't have it carved out that way, and your growth bucket is providing income, or your liquidity bucket is providing income, then you may very well be pulling money out of the wrong accounts. And with that said, you could be pulling money out of the wrong accounts, worse, in the wrong times. And you don't want to be pulling money out of a portfolio that's down, right? So really having some structure, Tony, and a really solid investment strategy that understands liquidity, income, and growth is so important, especially today.
Yeah. Yeah, it is important to take into account all of the things you're talking about. And this is great advice for our listeners. I mean, you need to make sure that you have the right amount in the right bucket for your particular situation. And that's why everybody's situation is different. And that's why you need to work with a financial services professional like yourself, who's also a fiduciary, because I know you're looking out for your client's best interest. But, with inflation on the rise, a lot of people are concerned about that. But at the same time, we have the markets being volatile, so it's kind of pulling us in both directions when it comes to that asset allocation, or figuring out which bucket your money is in. Because on one hand, with inflation, you don't want all your money in safety. You can't put it in a coffee can in the cupboard or under the mattress, because you're losing so much money that way because of inflation. And if the market's volatile, you don't want it all at risk or high risk. So there are a lot of different strategies and options, though, that will make it so you don't have to worry, right?
Well, that's true, Tony. And, if you think about it, when you in your working years, you're drawing an income. Let's say you're receiving a paycheck from the employer that you're working for, and you may be putting into a retirement plan, let's say a 401k or a 403b, and all of that's happening pretty automatic. I mean, in most cases, if you're getting paid bi-weekly, every couple of weeks you get a paycheck and money is carved out to go into your retirement plan. So in that scenario, things are going along. And if the market drops, you may be looking at your 401k and say, gee, the market's down, my portfolio's down, but you're drawing your income from your employer, so there's no harm, no foul. And it can even be argued, which it would be true, that your dollar cost averaging, you're putting more money into your 401k. Let's say if those positions are down, you're buying those shares at a better price. So, it works. The problem, Tony, is when you get closer to retirement or in retirement, I mean, fundamentally, we've got really a 180-degree difference in our scenario.
Sure.
Now, we're not drawing an income from our employer. That's exactly what went away when we retired. We have no more income from our employer. We're retired. And so now we have to replace that income.
Sure.
And so really that income bucket, Tony, is so important because we need the structured income that we are giving up when we retire. So, and that almost just sounds like, I guess a no-brainer. I mean, it stands to reason. I mean, everybody will, gets it that, hey, I'm going to retire. I'm not going to be drawing a paycheck anymore. So that is pretty obvious. And Tony, as you know, there's planning tools and software that really puts all that together. We use the Retirement Compass, which I'm sure there's many programs like the Compass, but I'll tell you, I haven't seen one that is quite as robust and sophisticated as the Compass, and so easy to look at. And as you know, Tony, we build in inflation, we pack in the Social Security strategy, we run our plans to age 100. And so, but having that structured income plan, especially in times like these, Tony, is really critical.
It's huge. It's very critical. So we need to take a quick break right now. But before we do, let our listeners know how they can get a hold of you and set up that no-charge consultation so they can get a plan in place.
Absolutely. So, if you're listening and you'd like to have a second opinion on your retirement plan, just give our office a call. Tell the girls that you heard Tony and I on the show today. The office number is 504-828-2171. You can call, you can visit us online at crescentcityretirement.com. We do have retirement workshops that we hold every month. The first week of May will be at Fleming's Restaurant right here in Metairie, right off of Causeway. Really, just a couple of minutes from our main office here in Metairie. And we just we love our radio audience to join us at the workshops. I can't tell you how many of you guys I've met from, that listen to us on the radio that have come to the workshops.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that. They do say, Tony, and you've mentioned this before too, when they meet me, they say, Anthony, you have the face for radio. And I don't know. I don't know how to take that.
That's not a compliment, Anthony. That's not. No. Yeah, they do say you have the perfect face for radio, but no, in all seriousness, and plus you mentioned Fleming's, it makes me hungry because that's a great place to eat. And it's not a sales technique or anything. It's educational, and that it's very helpful. And I know you've helped so many people in our community with that. Well, that sounds great. Now, we're going to take a quick break, but listeners, stay tuned because we're going to be right back with more of Retirement Keys and our host, Anthony Congemi, right after this.
You've been listening to our shows and advice on getting your finances in order and creating a retirement income plan that will last. Now is the time to take advantage of our special offer. This is Anthony Congemi of Crescent City Retirement Group, and we're now offering a complimentary gourmet dinner and retirement planning workshop, The 5 Keys to a Stress-Free Retirement. This is one workshop you won't want to miss. Call in the next 20 minutes for this no-cost offer. Seating is limited. Call Crescent City Retirement Group within the next 20 minutes at 504-828-2171. That number again is 504-828-2171.
And welcome back to Retirement Keys with our host, Anthony Congemi. I'm your co-host, Tony Shore. And Anthony, you've been talking to us about what we can do so we don't have to lay awake at night worrying about the crazy market, the housing market, the stocks, our retirement funds, and this crazy out-of-control inflation. You need a plan in place. And once you have a plan in place and just tweak it once in a while when major changes come along, it's so helpful. And you talk about that a lot on the show, how the retirement keys, the different keys to retirement can, help us with that. So I love that. And it's been a great show so far. So what do you think about, people are worried about inflation and they're worried about other things. If they're getting close to retirement, there are a lot of different things they can be doing, though, to shore up their retirement funds, right?
Well, there is, Tony. And, as you know, our retirement map really covers the 5 keys that we talk about in a stress-free retirement. And that's not just, words, stress-free retirement. We really do believe that these 5 key areas that are included in your retirement map, and I'll list them: estate and legacy planning, how things are passed on; your investment strategy, which we talked about in the last segment; income planning, which is really the foundation of any retirement plan. Then we haven't mentioned, but of course it's included in our map, healthcare planning; and then of course being tax efficient. And so really, Tony, those 5 key areas: estate and legacy, healthcare, investment strategy, income, and taxes, are really the core fundamental pieces of any sound retirement plan. And, interestingly, when you start looking at each one of these areas individually, you see quickly how they really can complement each other if the right hand and the left hand are working together. As a quick example, investments and taxes. I mean, how many times does the tax preparer have no relationship with the investment advisor? And of course, the only one that really loses in that scenario is the client, because the tax preparer doesn't know what the investment strategy is, and then the investment person doesn't really get involved in the tax planning. And so really they're just pulling against each other. It's true with healthcare planning, it's true with income planning, it's true with income planning, Tony. As there's required minimum distributions. There are strings attached to these pre-tax IRAs. And so, what is the tax implications? And can you be doing some distribution planning and some strategy to where you're not, just deferring everything to required distribution, where all of a sudden now your income spikes and you could, get thrown into a higher tax bracket. I mean, it could affect your IRMA, your income related Medicare adjustments. So now your Medicare premiums are costing more. I mean, a lot can happen if the income plan and the tax strategy and the healthcare plan is not working together. And, so Tony, that's why I say that really those 5 key areas: estate and legacy, healthcare, investment strategy, income planning, and taxes, really work together. And our retirement map puts it all together. And that's really our offer is, if you want a second opinion on your retirement plan, by all means, let us give it to you. And then you'll have exactly all the reports, all of the planning documents. Very easy, frankly, Tony, to look at. I mean, nothing, very straightforward, I guess, user friendly. But have that second opinion. Get the plan that we provide here at Crescent City Retirement Group, customized obviously to you and your family, and then that gives you something to compare. And you can really do your due diligence by looking at multiple plans from different firms, and that way you know what's out there and you can put the best plan in place for you and your family.
Yeah, there you go. And that's what it's all about. And I think there you go. You need a plan in place. You want to do what's best for your family, for your loved ones, and to make sure you have a solid retirement. So you've given us a lot of great advice today. Why don't you let our listeners know again how they can get a hold of you, how they can either reserve a spot at the dinner seminar. There's no cost. There's no obligation. It's just an educational event. And how they can set up a one-on-one meeting with you if they want.
Yeah, absolutely. So the dinner seminars, and realize this, it's a nice meal. It's about an hour and 15-minute presentation with a little break in between. So it flows really well. There's nobody saying, hey, let's schedule an appointment and all of this. We're just presenting the educational material. You have a lot there. You can take good notes and you have a nice meal, and that's it. And for the people that do want to schedule an appointment, the girls, later will, reach out, or we'll get together and we'll try to schedule some time where we can get together and either visit in the office or on a Zoom call. For those of you that like the computer, the Zoom meetings, I prefer, myself, I guess I'm more old school. I prefer meeting, together. But nevertheless, the workshops, the seminars are a great place to learn about the 5 keys to a stress-free retirement. We also have a great website with all of these radio shows and podcasts that we've done. So there's a real wealth of retirement information on our website at crescentcityretirement.com. And I do have a special offer that I'd like to make. So if you were, in the hunt of getting a second opinion on your retirement plan, take advantage of this special offer.
You've been listening to our shows and advice on getting your finances in order and creating a retirement income plan that will last. Now is the time to take advantage of our special offer. This is Anthony Kangemi with Crescent City Retirement Group, and we're now offering our 3-step retirement planning process at no cost and a $100 gift card to the restaurant of your choice upon completion of the planning process. Call Crescent City Retirement Group within the next 20 minutes at 504-828-2171. That number again is 504-828-2171.
Thank you for listening to Retirement Keys. Don't pay too much for taxes or retire without a sound income plan. For more information, please contact Anthony Kangemi at Crescent City Retirement Group. Call 504-828-2171 or visit the website at crescentcityretirement.com. All matters discussed during this show are for informational purposes only. Each individual situation may vary, and the opinions expressed here may not apply to everyone. Materials presented are believed to be from reliable sources, and no representations can be made as to its accuracy. All ideas and information should be discussed in detail with one of our qualified representatives prior to implementation. Anthony Kangemi and Crescent City Retirement Group are not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency.